Hello and welcome back to the farm. My name is Susie and I'm the owner and creator here. If you've been watching my channel for a little while, you know that I have been diligently working through my thrift hoard. Today's video, I'm going to do up the last of my thrift hoard and I'm going to be doing some cute storage ideas and flipping them to make them absolutely beautiful. Don't forget to like this video if you enjoyed this kind of thing, and share it and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. I appreciate you guys so much watching, and let's go ahead and get to the projects. I thrifted this metal toolbox a while back for $3.99. You can see it has a little bit of damage there on the top. Looks like maybe it was burnt. The inside looks like it was originally red, but someone painted the outside a different color red. We're going to give this a new paint job, so I just sanded that area down as well as I could and smoothed it out the best that I could. And I'm going to be using the Cottage Colors paint. This is the color Haint Blue. And this paint has a built-in sealer and a leveler or leveling agent or something like that in it. So when you put the first coat on, it really, you think, oh my God, this is just not going to work. It looks horrible. You can see every brush stroke. But when you put the second coat on, you can begin to see how amazing this paint coverage is. So I did 2 coats on this, inside, outside, front, back, bottom. I got it completely covered. And this also has a built-in sealer, so we do not need to seal it. One thing about having a built-in sealer, though, is it will not wet distress. So I did have to sand distress this, and I just went back over every line and every edge and brought back just a little bit, just a hint of that red, because it's going to go really well with the transfer that I'm going to put on this. Once I got it all distressed the way that I want it, I am going to use up the rest of my Ephemeral Melange transfer pack. If you were to ask me what would be the best transfers to start with, I would absolutely say get you a Ephemeral Melange transfer. These are absolutely beautiful. There's tons of seed packets and stuff like that. And it is the smallest transfer pack, and it is the least expensive transfer pack as well. I have had this one for so long, and I just continue to use this same one on project after project after project. There's so much you can do with this transfer set. So I'm going to put a few in the inside, just some like seed packet labels. And then I'm going to do a big one on the outside. And this is one of the really pretty roses. So I'm just going to wrap it over that messed up spot. So that's going to completely hide that. And if you've never done a transfer before, you just take the white backing off and use the tool that came with it, and you rub over the transfer until it transfers onto your surface. And you can kind of tell when it releases, and you just slowly pull back as you're rubbing so as not to pull to mess up your transfer. If you just slowly do it, and you can see if it's not sticking, you can lay it back down and rub some more. So that's what I'm doing here. I'm just going to get this completely on. And if you have to go over some raised areas or something, that's easy to do as well. You'll see when I do this kind of over the handle here. I didn't do it on the handle. I just did all the way around it. And that was very simple as well. Y'all, I'm so tempted to keep this toolbox for myself. I do use one regularly back and forth at the booth, but I'm going to have to sell it. It's just absolutely gorgeous. I know someone will love this in their home decor. For our second storage project, I have had this vintage train case for a long time. It was given to me and I've always wanted to do something with it. Most people say, oh, you could sell that as is, it's vintage. I know that, but I really want to upcycle it. It's missing the mirror out of the inside, so that makes it a little less valuable. And my whole deal in my booth is I paint things. So if that's what sells for me, that's what I'm going to do. I'm not really much of a vintage dealer or antiques or anything like that. If I see something and I feel like I can make it different but still beautiful, that's what I'm going to do. So I am going to give just the outside of this 2 coats of DIY skeleton key paint. I love this color paint. It is quickly becoming one of my favorite, and this train case was leather and it went on absolutely perfect. Now this is a clay base paint, and so it's not sealed yet, so I can wet distress it, which is really good for the inside. So I'm just taking a damp cloth and I'm rubbing over it just to give it a little bit of age. You wouldn't have to do this if you don't like the distressing, but I really did want to bring some of that brown leather back, and I just felt like over time this would be worn a little bit anyway. So I'm going to wet distress it, and then once it is dried, I'm going to give it a layer of a top coat sealer, because we're going to put some more of that Ephemeral Melange transfer pack on this as well. So I'm just going to put as many of these small transfers on here as I can get, and without making it look too done. These come off super easy on this train case once it was sealed, and you'll notice that these transfers that are like one piece, they do transfer better than ones that have a lot of wording by itself or something like that. So these are super easy to put on. I put some on the top, and I put some on the front. And then you could do another sealer over these transfers, or you could actually sand them and make them look more worn, which I almost did, but I opted with just not doing a sealer. That way they would wear a little bit over time, because that's how a train case is going to look anyway. And y'all, this is so stinking cute. I know someone is going to love this in their home, decorated up. Project number 3 is this extremely old bread box. I did not buy this. We found it here in the basement when we were cleaning out the house. It was housing nuts and bolts, and it probably weighed about 1,000 pounds. It's not in the greatest shape. As you can see, there's a little bit of rust, and the top part was just a little bit worn. I am going to take it outside and give it a coat of a matte black spray paint, and then just for the lid, I am going to do 2 coats of that same paint blue that I did on the toolbox earlier. And then I have another plan for the bottom of the box. It is black already, but then I am going to go ahead and put another coat of just, I think it's a Dixie Belle Midnight Sky over it again, just to smooth it out a little bit. I'm going to let that dry, and I had several different things go wrong with this. I'm just going to take you through it all. So this is the Stone Gray ink. I did not have any in an ink pad, so I'm just inking up a blank ink pad with the Stone Gray ink. And I have never used the Barnwood Plank stamps, so that's what I'm going to use here. And since I have never used them, you want to take some 220 grit sandpaper and just rough them up a little bit. What I'm hoping to do is this gray paint show up bright on the black, but as you can see, once I stamped it down, you could not see it at all on this black. So I decided at that point that I wanted to see how white would look on it. So I stamped it up with white, and I just thought that that looked absolutely ridiculous. So next step, I decided to go over this with a gray paint. This is Dixie Belle Gravel Road. Once the gray paint had dried, I come back with some white and just dry brushed it on. I was going to go pretty light, but then I decided I need to go much heavier. All of this is messy coats. This thing is covered well, but I want it to look really rustic and really worn. So I ended up putting more white on it. I really wanted it to be lighter because I really want to use this gray ink, and I really want it to show up. So we're going to try this again, and I am just going to go all the way around the bread box with random pieces from this barnwood planks. I'm loving the way this is looking, but I think that this barnwood would be so much easier to do and look so much better on just a flat surface. But I do like how it's looking on this bread box, and it is achieving the look that I was hoping for. And plus, it's so much fun to use these stamps. They're random. You can do them together how you want. You can take those knots off and do them separately. So I was just playing around with this stamp set, and I got the entire box covered. Also, I'm not going to be selling this because it was in such rough condition. It's not something that I would put in my booth to sell, but it's absolutely something that I have been using for storage in my studio. So I'm going to make it pretty where I'm happy to display it, even though I'm using it for a function as well. So I have one more page from the Ephemeral Melange transfer pack, but it doesn't fit on this bread box the way I want to use it. So I'm just going to cut these two roses apart. Instead of putting them one on top of each other, I'm going to put them next to each other on this box. That's the great thing about transfers. You can mix and match them how you want. You can cut them apart. Some of the transfers come, kind of made for that, where they're already apart. But even if they're not, like this one, you can absolutely put them however you want to. I'm just going to take bits and pieces here and put these roses on the front of this just to pretty up this box. And I really like how this turned out. I had some problems with the stamp set, but crafting sometimes it's about problems and working through them and still making your projects come out beautiful. I got these trinket boxes at a couple of different places and different times. I think this one came from an estate sale, and I'm not sure about this one, but someone had given it a terrible paint job. So we're going to keep with the theme I got going here. We're going to use the skeleton key. I'm going to give both of these 2 coats. For this one, it had a really pretty inside that was black, so I did not bother painting the inside, just the outside. But the other one, someone had painted the inside terribly, so I'm going to do the inside and outside of this one, 2 coats, and then we're going to let that dry. And you guessed it, if you know me and you know how much I love putting white wax on anything that has details. So once the paint has dried, we're going to come back with the white wax, and we're just going to put it all over both of these little trinket boxes. These are great for sitting on tables and putting things in that you really don't want sitting out, fingernail clippers, whatever, stuff like that. I don't know why I thought of fingernail clippers, but I did. And y'all, I have such a helper here with me today. He is so obsessed with anything that I am doing today and has to be right up in it. It's pretty cute, but then it gets annoying after a little while, and I'm going to take and put him in the crate. About the white wax, as you can see, this is the bottom of the barrel of this white wax, but I have had this white wax for probably 8 months, and I'm just now finishing this, and y'all know how much I use it. So this stuff really lasts a long time. I have another jar ready and waiting. So all you do is put the white wax on, and then you'll rub it back with a paper towel, and this will seal your project as well as bring out all those beautiful details. So that is all for my projects today. Please be sure and leave me a comment below. Let me know which one was your favorite today. I will be having my knee surgery on Monday. My plan is to have a video ready this weekend that will play next Wednesday. But if you don't see me next Wednesday, it's because I'm just not able. And as soon as I'm mobile again, I will be back. Thank y'all so much. I hope you have a wonderful night.